I am sitting here at 3 in the morning and my hands are literally shaking over my keyboard because my brain cannot even begin to process the absolute madness of what I just watched unfold on my screen. And I have been a dedicated viewer of the show since 2015, but nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for the sheer dark, twisted tragedy of what Rocco Falconeri just did in the dead of night. I cannot breathe. I actually cannot catch my breath thinking about the rapid, terrifying descent of this boy who was just a normal kid a minute ago. You really have to understand the crushing, suffocating pressure he has been under ever since that fateful night on Pier 55 when he picked up that gun and shot Ross Cullum in the back to save Jason Morgan and Britt Westbourne from being slaughtered by that absolute monster of a WSB director. Jason, being the ultimate stoic sacrificial lamb of Port Charles, took the fall for the kid and let Dante slap the cuffs on him and let the WSB drag him away into the abyss while Danny Morgan is left crying his eyes out over losing his father again. Rocco has been sitting there in Lulu's house just drowning in this toxic, paralyzing guilt while his own father, the relentless super cop Dante Falconeri, is breathing down his neck asking questions about the mysterious cut on his hand and poking holes in that pathetic kitchen mishap lie that Lulu helped him spin. Rocco knows the truth, and the truth is eating him alive from the inside out. He knows that Cullum is not going to just let this go because Cullum is a dangerous, ruthless predator who knows exactly what happened on that pier and knows for a fact that Jason Morgan did not pull that trigger. Cullum is lying there in his hospital bed recovering from the gunshot wound and plotting his next move, and Rocco knows that it is only a matter of time before this evil man comes looking for the real shooter. The sheer terror of a teenager facing the wrath of a corrupt WSB director is unimaginable, and you can see it in his eyes, the wild, frantic desperation of a trapped animal who realizes that the walls are closing in, and that Jason's sacrifice is going to be for nothing if Cullum decides to talk or retaliate. Rocco made a decision, a bold, terrifying, irreversible decision that crosses a line so dark and so deep that there is no coming back from it ever. I am just picturing him pacing in his room, the adrenaline and the fear mixing into this lethal cocktail of teenage impulsivity and desperate protective instinct. He cannot let Cullum hurt his family. He cannot let Cullum destroy Jason's life or Danny's life or his mother's life because Lulu is already a nervous wreck trying to keep this secret from Dante. So Rocco decides he has to be the one to end it. He has to finish what he started on the pier. The audacity of this kid to sneak out and make his way to General Hospital in the middle of the night is just mind-blowing to me. The hospital corridors are always so eerie at night, with the fluorescent lights buzzing and the faint beeping of monitors echoing off the linoleum floors, and Rocco is just walking through this sterile maze with a singular dark purpose. He finds an empty locker room or a supply closet, and he grabs a white doctor's coat. He slips it on over his clothes. A teenager playing dress-up, but the game is murder. The disguise is so incredibly simple, but in a busy, understaffed hospital, it is all you need to become invisible. People just see the white coat and they look right past you. Rocco pulls the collar up and keeps his head down as he navigates the ICU wing where Cullum is being kept under observation. My heart was pounding so hard against my ribs I thought it was going to crack my sternum as I watched him slip past the nurse's station. What if Elizabeth had looked up? What if Portia had walked out of an elevator right at that exact second? The tension was so thick you could choke on it, but Rocco moves like a ghost. He moves with this chilling, unnatural calm that you would expect from a seasoned mob hitman, not the teenage son of a police detective. He finds Cullum's room. The door is heavy, and it clicks shut behind him, sealing them both in this quiet little bubble of impending doom. Cullum is asleep. The big bad WSB director who has been terrorizing Britt and manipulating Sidwell and murdering people like Marco Rios is just lying there looking weak and vulnerable, hooked up to all these machines that are rhythmically graphing his vital signs. The steady beep 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 of the heart monitor is the only sound in the room. Rocco stands at the foot of the bed and just stares at him. You can see the conflict and the terror and the absolute resolve warring on his young face. This man is a monster. This man will destroy everyone Rocco loves if he wakes up and talks. Jason is sitting in a federal holding cell because of this man. Rocco steps closer. The lighting in the room is dim and casting these long, sinister shadows across the bed. He reaches out. His hands are trembling, but he doesn't stop. He grabs the standard issue hospital pillow from the spare chair in the corner. It is such an ordinary, mundane object. A pillow. Something meant for comfort. He moves to the head of the bed. Cullum shifts slightly in his sleep, groaning a little from the pain of the gunshot wound, but he doesn't wake up. He doesn't know that his death is standing right over him wearing a stolen lab coat and a face full of teenage desperation. Rocco brings the pillow down. He presses it hard over Cullum's face. The sudden violent struggle is horrifying to watch. Cullum's eyes snap open under the fabric and his hands fly up, grasping wildly at Rocco's arms, trying to peel the boy off him, but Cullum is weak. He is recovering from major surgery and he doesn't have the strength to fight off a terrified, adrenaline-fueled teenager who is putting his entire body weight into holding that pillow down. The monitors start to go crazy. The alarms are blaring in the room, but the door is thick and the night shift is distracted. Cullum is thrashing and kicking the sheets, tangling around his legs. Rocco is crying. Tears are streaming down his face as he holds the pillow down, his knuckles white, his teeth gritted. It feels like it takes hours. The suffocating, agonizing eternity of watching a man's life be extinguished by a boy who should be worrying about homework and basketball games, not committing first-degree murder in an intensive care unit. The thrashing slowly begins to weaken. Cullum's hands slide off Rocco's arms and fall limply to the sides of the bed. The frantic beeping of the heart monitor suddenly flatlines into one long, continuous, piercing tone. It is over. Cullum is dead. Rocco slowly lifts the pillow. He stares at the lifeless face of the man he just murdered. The reality of what he has done crashes down on him like a tidal wave of ice water. He drops the pillow. It falls to the floor with a soft thud that sounds like a cannon shot in the sudden silence of the room. He has to get out. He has to run. Rocco backs away from the bed, stumbling a little, his breathing ragged and shallow. He rips off the white doctor's coat and shoves it into a laundry bin near the door. He cracks the door open and peeks out into the hallway. The coast is clear. The nurses are down at the other end of the ward dealing with another patient's alarm. Rocco slips out of the room and disappears down the stairwell, fleeing into the Port Charles night, leaving behind a corpse and a mystery that is going to tear this town apart. The sheer luck of him getting away unseen is staggering, but it also sets up the most devastating psychological thriller storyline we have ever seen on this show. He did it! He actually did it, and he got away. But for how long? A doctor walks into the room 20 minutes later to do a routine check on Cullum's vitals and finds him dead. The flatline alarm had been silenced or ignored in the chaos of the ICU, but now the reality is glaringly obvious. The doctor hits the code blue button, but it is way too late. Resuscitation efforts are completely futile. The WSB director is dead. The hospital goes into immediate lockdown. The police are called. And who is going to be leading the investigation into this high-profile murder at General Hospital? Dante Falconeri. His own father. Dante is going to walk into that room and look at that bed and start collecting evidence and interviewing witnesses and pulling security footage, completely unaware that he is hunting his own flesh and blood. I am losing my mind thinking about the dramatic irony of this entire situation. Dante has been so suspicious of Lulu and Rocco lately, he knows they are hiding something about the cut on Rocco's hand. He knows the kitchen mishap story is a pathetic lie. Now he is going to be investigating the murder of the man Rocco shot in the first place. The clues are going to start piling up. The missing doctor's coat. The security cameras that might have caught a glimpse of a teenager in a baseball cap slipping out the back exit. The timeline of when Cullum was smothered. Dante is a brilliant detective. He is going to put the pieces together. He is going to connect the shooting on the pier to the murder in the hospital, and when he finally realizes that all the evidence points directly to his own son, it is going to destroy him. It is going to absolutely shatter Dante's soul. And what about Lulu? Lulu is already living on the edge of a total nervous breakdown, trying to protect Rocco from the consequences of the shooting. Nathan West has been helping her keep the secret, but this is a whole new level of hell. Covering up a defensive shooting is one thing, but covering up a premeditated, cold-blooded murder in a hospital bed is something else entirely. When Lulu finds out what Rocco did, she is going to lose her mind. How do you look at your child the same way after they have smothered a man to death? How do you protect them from that? The guilt is going to eat Rocco alive. He thought he was solving the problem. He thought he was saving Jason and protecting his family, but all he did was trade one nightmare for a much worse one. He is a murderer now. A literal murderer. Jason is sitting in a WSB cell taking the fall for a shooting, and now the victim of that shooting has been assassinated in his hospital bed. The WSB is going to go insane. They are going to think Jason orchestrated the hit from the inside. They are going to tear Port Charles apart looking for the assassin. Jack Brennan is going to be furious. Valentine is going to be dragged into this. Carly is going to lose her mind trying to prove Jason didn't order a hit on Cullum. The ripple effects of Rocco's desperate, terrible decision are going to touch every single character on this canvas. It is a brilliant narrative move by the writers, but it is so incredibly painful to watch. I just keep picturing the look on Rocco's face as he held that pillow down. The loss of innocence. The crossing of the ultimate moral boundary. He is a Falconeri and a Spencer. He has the law and order in his blood from Dante, but he also has that dark, reckless, unpredictable Spencer streak from Lulu and Luke. We are seeing the manifestation of generational trauma and violence playing out in this teenage boy. He felt cornered. He felt like he had no other choice. But the choice he made is going to haunt him for the rest of his life. Even if he doesn't get caught right away, the psychological toll of taking a life like that up close and personal, watching the light go out of a man's eyes under a pillow, is going to break his mind. I cannot wait to see how this plays out, but I am also dreading it because it is going to be so heartbreaking. Dante's investigation is going to be a slow, agonizing burn. Every clue he finds is going to be a nail in his own heart. Every lie Lulu tells to cover for Rocco is going to drive a deeper wedge between them. And Rocco is going to have to walk around town going to school looking Danny Morgan in the eye, knowing that he murdered a man to keep a secret. The tension is going to be unbearable. I am exhausted just thinking about it. This show has completely consumed my life, and this storyline is the darkest, most gripping thing they have done in years. I need a drink and a nap, but I know I will just be lying awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying that pillow scene in my head over and over again.